Welcome to the first part of our lesson on Spanish comprehension and communication strategies. In this video, we'll be talking about taking control. Yes, when your Spanish is limited, you must be a control freak while you're talking to Spanish speakers. There are a few rules for being a control freak, and number one is that you must only ask questions that you'll understand the answers to. This might seem like a no-brainer, but I often have students ask me how to say things like, what brings you here? If, for example, they're in the medical field wanting to talk to a Spanish-speaking patient. I've also seen other Spanish programs teaching phrases like, how's that project going? Unless they just give a thumbs up or a thumbs down and say bien or mal, you're probably not going to understand the answer because they're going to go off on a long explanation and it's just going to go right over your head, right? So be really careful about what you ask because you might not like the answer, just saying. Some safe questions you could ask would probably be some like what we've learned already. ¿Cómo se llama? What's your name? You know that when they answer, you can expect a name to come out of their mouth. Or how about ¿Cómo está? How are you? We talked about some of the most likely answers to that question in a separate video. Other questions that might be a safe bet are yes-no questions. Think about how you might turn an open-ended question into a yes-no question. For example, going back to the medical example, rather than ask, what brings you here? You can ask specific questions like, have you had pain? Or have you been vomiting? If you know your numbers in Spanish, a question that has a number for an answer might be safe to ask. Some examples might be, how old are you? Or, for how many days have you had this pain? If you don't know your Spanish numbers yet, don't worry. We'll be having a lesson on that soon. Another safe question to ask would be one where the answer is a place or a name. Some examples would be, where do you live? Or where are you from? Or what's your baby's name? Think about these things when you work to learn new sentences in Spanish. Don't make life harder for yourself than it already is. Here are a few Spanish phrases you can use to take control of your conversation with a Spanish speaker. If you ask a yes-no question and your Spanish speaker tries to turn it into a long story, stop them. Say, no hablo mucho español. This means I don't speak much Spanish. No hablo mucho español. Then say, responda con sí o no, por favor. Responda con sí o no, por favor. This means please answer with yes or no. Responda con sí o no, por favor. If they persist and you can't understand them, say, no entiendo. No entiendo. I don't understand. No entiendo. If you ask them something that you should be able to understand, such as where they live, and you didn't catch the response, you can say, repita, por favor. Repita, por favor. It means repeat, please. Repita, por favor. Maybe they said it too fast and you need them to slow down. Say, hable más despacio, por favor. Hable más despacio, por favor. Speak more slowly, please. Hable más despacio, por favor. You might want to make sure they understand too. Be careful with this one because sometimes they might say yes even when they don't, so observe them carefully. Ask, ¿me entiende? ¿Me entiende? Do you understand me? ¿Me entiende? If you have the luxury of an interpreter on staff at your workplace and you think you maybe are not being fully understood or you're having trouble understanding something that seems pretty important to them, you might ask, ¿necesita traductor? ¿Necesita traductor? This means, do you need an interpreter? ¿Necesita traductor? So that's it on our video for taking control. Now go out and be a control freak today. More strategies coming soon in our next video. Hasta la próxima!